it's not really also what the Republican Party aspires to be. And speaking of which, one thing that they have always aspired to be is the party in power. And that is looking more and more tenuous this week as we had the unfortunate death of one member of the Republican majority in the U.S. House of Representatives and the retirement of another, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who we have spoken about at some length on this show. Matt, I'm going to ask you to put your GOP campaign operative hat back on. What effect will this razor thin majority, they're now down to 218 to 213, what effect will that have?
Oh, it's a game changer for the way this year works. I mean, and you know this, but for our audience, one of the things we do in election years is we start to use the legislature to promote something we want, or we put in the poison pills in there to try to get the Democrats to vote against it. So we can say, you hate little kids and look, you voted against it. They're all messaging bills. That's exactly right. But with such a slim majority, you're going to have a tough time getting those messaging bills through. I mean, we can barely cobble together enough people to hold a quorum in some cases because we have people who can't make it in time. There's some special elections coming up where I think a Democrat's going to win at the end of this year. So that or the end of this month, that margin is going to be even a little bit tighter. And I mean, I don't think Mike Johnson loses the gavel. I don't think the Republicans are ever going to give Hakeem Jeffries that gavel. But what it means is that during the summer, when we're starting to gear up for it and we're trying to fundraise off of legislation and we're trying to put those pieces out there to make that compelling case and a compelling argument, we simply don't have the bodies to do it. And I think the next question, and it's just the big unknown, is how many other Republicans are going to retire this year and how thin is that majority going to be?
Yeah, you brought up two things, and I'm going to lard two things on top of them. So you're talking about the prospects for messaging bills, for positioning bills. There are always votes where the party in the majority is trying to put the party in the minority on the spot with difficult votes that they can bring back in 30-second ads in the fall. That's going to become harder to do because they can't hold together their own majority on some of these controversial issues. You also brought up how thin the margin is. And look, we talked last week about the prospect for further retirements. We both agreed that we're going to set the record in this cycle for retirements from the House. We could see yet more. We saw Republicans speaking wistfully of Marjorie Taylor Greene's ability to retire and just get out of this whole ugly scene. We could easily see more of that, which would put Republicans on very thin ice. I'll just add more discharge petitions, more forcing Mike Johnson to do things that a small number of Republicans and the vast majority of Democrats want to do. But there's always the chance of ratcheting up the prospects of impeachment.